Good evening and welcome to SAFC Fan TV and another edition of Thursday Night Live. Joining myself, wee Philly tonight, we have, of course, the Mad Mistake. Have you had a good day, Terry?
Very busy Thursdays, always very busy. So yeah, it's been champion, been for my usual run, and I'm ready to chill out and chat football.
Nice one. Also joining us, becoming a regular now on a Thursday, we have Jack Shields with us. Have you had a good day, Jack?
Yeah, it's been all right. Looking forward to a bit of banter with the lads and talk Sunderland, my favourite thing.
Nice one. And we have been joined by Sunderland Echoes, James Copley, down here. He's joined us for the first half hour. Have you had a good day, James?
I have. Unlike Terry, I haven't been for me run today, so I'm feeling a little bit agitated. But I'll get one in tomorrow, hopefully.
Oh well, I'll get one in before the end of the year, hopefully. So James is going to stay with us until 7:30. And then we're going to be joined by Tyler Rowlinson, who is a top Charlton vlogger. So we're going to chat to him about the upcoming game on Saturday against them. And of course, Charlton have sacked their manager today. So we'll get his thoughts on that as well. Don't forget, of course, we are live, which means you can join in the show with us via the live chat. Already on there, Last Palmer's Mackham, who's always first up. Dan Humphrey is there. Joanne Young, hello, Joanne, how you doing? Bobby Wevy is a Charlton fan. Welcome to the channel. Says Tyler is a brilliant blogger, and he also loves, he loves our channel as well. So thanks very much to you, the Charlton fan. Down there, Lauren Kenny's in there, Alan Robinson, John Forbes, and Emma Wilson, all with us this evening. All right, fellas, it's been a good few days, really. We since we had that 4-0 defeat at Pompey, we've had a good couple of league wins there. Crew on Tuesday night, Crew 0, Sunderland 4. Overall performance, James, what did you think of it?
Really pleasing, to be honest. I think Crew had a few moments before we scored that were a little bit concerned, but we dealt well with them. I think the pleasing thing about the Crew and Gillingham games is that when we've been under the cosh a little bit and things haven't been going our way, we've managed to dig in there and stay in it. Obviously, Crew was a little bit different to the Gillingham game, but it was nice to get to half-time and know we had the game sort of won. And I said to my friends in the pub, I watched it in the pub in Sunderland, and I said it'd be nice to just come out, no dramas, and just score another couple of goals. Nice, comfortable victory and hammer them. And that's exactly what we did. And I think what Lee Johnson said over the past couple of months about going into every game and wanting to progress the club through every game, whether it's Papa John's under-23s, first team League One, Carabao Cup, it really feels like we're doing that at the moment. And I think it's all credit to them as well, because there were questions over the away form. There were questions after Portsmouth, although that game had mitigating circumstances due to the weather. But Sunderland have answered those questions now, and hopefully they'll move forward again. And, Lee Johnson was criticised at the back end of last season because Sunderland struggled to get over the line, and he sort of had this streaky Lee Johnson thing, which has followed him since Bristol City. And you started to wonder about that again after Portsmouth, but hopefully that's all been put to bed now. But as we know with Sunderland, it all takes one bad result on Saturday, then we're back to asking questions again, aren't we? So at the moment, everything's rosy.
Yeah, you mentioned about the weather down when we got beat at Portsmouth. Did you guys see the weather in the Plymouth game when Plymouth won on Tuesday night? I mean, it was exactly the same. But I mean, there you go. Jack, overall performance, 4-0 win.
Yeah, very, very pleasing. I thought we were comfortable as an away win as I can remember for some time. We said before, didn't we? We've won regularly at home, 100% record at home, but our away record was a bit patchy before Saturday, wasn't it? 1 win out of 4. We've thrown 2 points away against Fleetwood, lost at Burton, lost at Portsmouth, and just the 1 win against MK Dons. So we had a test, we had a challenge. Can we go and get at least 1 away win? And we ended up with 2. I think Gillingham, they were all over us in the first half, and we managed to get a good goal and win the game and see it out when we had the Reds. I thought, it was a bit of a test, in terms of the last 10 minutes. Could we hang on? Very, very nervy. Whereas Tuesday night, I agree with James. Crew came out in the first 10 or 15 minutes, put us under a lot of pressure, and after that, really threatened. I can't recall them really having a shot on target or even a chance. To be honest, we got 2-0 up and never really felt like they were going to threaten. And really pleasing to see how well we attacked and how clinical we were as well. Do you know what I mean? We were getting chances and putting them away, which at times as a Sunderland fan, you seem to be having quite a few chances in games and we don't always look that prolific. And on Tuesday night, I thought we did it. We put the ball away and it was a nice and easy, comfortable night. I think the standard, Crew, they're going to be in the bottom 3 this season. If they play like that, I can't see them getting out of it. But really, it looked like a team that was maybe 2 divisions apart. You know what I mean? Maybe, dare I say it, like a championship team against a League 2 team. But early days. But yeah, I wanted to see us play well away from home and get 3 points, and we've done it twice in a week. So I'm very content with that.
I didn't think they were that bad. I think it was a typical case of the other team raising the game because it's Sunderland and stuff like that. But nice to get 4 goals. I mean, our goal difference. I think goal difference could become a thing, at the end of the season. So losing those 4 goals to Portsmouth and then getting them back again on Tuesday was another good thing. Terry, 4-0 down at Crewe. Overall performance, what did you think?
Yeah, I didn't think it was too good to begin with. I thought the first 20 minutes were very sluggish. We give the ball away a lot. I wasn't so much Crewe playing well. It was just that, Hoffman give the ball, a bad kick out of goal, which is uncharacteristic. Unlike him, there was Doyle give the ball away a couple of times. And then there was a throw-in where somebody threw it in. Dan Neil was facing the other way and the ball went straight past him. And they had a chance again. If Crewe had anything up front, they could have been in front in the first 20 minutes. But after we got over that, once we got the first goal, we dominated the match after that. For me, what's up?
I'm going to say Karen's got something up front, if that's any good.
Well, I'll leave that down to you, Phil. Leave that down to you. But once we got the first goal, which, you got to put the defenders under pressure. And, that's what happens sometimes to get an own goal. O'Brien was in the right place. 1 or 2 great balls through from Dan Neil. O'Brien was almost like clean through and he kicked fresh air. So we had 1 or 2 opportunities before we scored the first goal. So we did kind of deserve it. Pritchard had a much better game than usual. Got a bit of an injury at half-time, hurt his neck, but he still played some of the second half. But I thought, again, Dan Neil, the architect, pulling the strings like in charge of his orchestra, he done really well. And that second goal was one of the best goals I've seen for ages. But passage of play leading up to the goal was brilliant. A little chip in the box from Dan Neil, and there was Stuart Donald scoring. Stuart Donald scoring 2 goals, got a brace, didn't he? Yeah, Mr. Stewart got a brace. That was great. I'm pleased he got a brace. That's 2 or 3 times he's getting a brace now. But he's not selfish. There's a couple of times he could have gone for the hat trick. And he gave the ball to someone else, tried to let him score. McGeady was clean through, but he tried to get the ball through to McGeady and it hit the heel of the defender. So yeah, he's not like a selfish player. He scored a couple of goals and he was willing to let someone else have a chance. Overall performance, much better away from home, but Crewe are not a good side. They're a poor side. So the difference between Crewe and Gillingham, you could say, I think Crewe is going to really struggle this season. And again, we play a team on Saturday who is struggling. So, you just got to fill your boots while you can.
Hey, but it's nice to beat these teams that are struggling.
It is.
Wigan last season twice. We lost. I know they're much better this season, but we lost twice to them last season. We didn't beat Northampton Town. So, it's nice that these teams that are down the other end, we're starting to get results over them now.
Well, we've improved, haven't we? Last season, we drew 2 as a peach with Crewe. We just scraped a draw. This time we go there and we win quite comfortably. And again, Diaku came on. And he's just got one thing on his mind. He just wants to run with the ball as fast as he can to the other side at the penalty box. And it's nice to see. Last season, it was just all slow, sideways and passing, sideways and backwards. This season, just driving with the ball. Diago, I thought he was great.
I think the players, we seem to have a lot of pace in the team this season. Do you know what I mean? We seem to have players that can carry the ball and a bit of energy in the team. It's surprising how quickly we've come on from last season. That slow, boring, laboured style of play, and now we're playing almost, dare I say it, exciting football. It's interesting. It's nice to watch. It's good.
For me, it's sorry to interrupt again, but it's the depth, because we've got Lyndon Gooch out, Corey Evans out, Alves out, Aidan McGeady's missed games, Leon Diaku's missed games, and we've coped. Embleton was suspended; is going to be suspended for another couple of games. So, and we've managed to cope with that. Last season, if we had that amount of players out, I just cannot see us coping in a month of Sundays. Doyle had his little thing, Serkins had his little thing. Huggins is out until the new year, and we've managed to by and large cope with it. Hume was out for the majority of the start of the season. He's only just coming back, and that's off the top of my head, 8-9 players, but we definitely couldn't have coped with that last season. So it's all credit to the recruitment team, I think.
We're competing on 4 fronts as well, aren't we? When you think about when you've got the league, Pizza Cup, League Cup, and we're going to be coming in the FA Cup in a couple of weeks' time. So
absolutely.
Fair enough. I agree with you, Terry. That second goal was a brilliant move. That ball from Pritchard, where he put through to Daniel to put over, just lovely, So, and a lot of people have said, there's so many games as well this season that we would have. Where we've been, like with Gillingham, where we won it 2-1, where we wouldn't have hung on, it would have ended up a draw and stuff like that. And so at least, like I said, the away form seems to be picking up a bit. Just very quickly, back to the chat. Emma Wilson says, evening, lads. Feeling cold, Philly, obviously due to the long sleeves. My wife says it's because she's given us the cold shoulder. And Emma says, is that due to QPR? As you all know, we've been on about going to QPR, and we all know who the boss in this house is, with me and my wife. And I said, we're going. So I spoke to the boss, and apparently we're not going to QPR now, apparently. So that's what the boss says. So that clears that up. No V's tonight, Tony Lee says. Don't even know what that means, but moving swiftly along. Aidan McGeady back in the team. I'd like your thoughts on him, how you thought he did, and has he actually been a miss for us, over the time he's been out, James?
I think any League One team's going to miss the quality of Aidan McGeady, but it goes back to my previous point just there. We've got a squad now, and I think we're not over-reliant on Aidan McGeady anymore, and that's not a bad thing. He's still going to produce moments of quality when you need it. I think he was very good when he played against Crewe, but I just think we're noticing him less because we've got fresh faces coming in. We're not overly reliant on anybody. It's not McGeady to Wyke anymore. We've got other players that can do things. Leon Jacku coming off the bench and producing the goods. Ross Stewart scoring goals. Aidan O'Brien's finding a little vein of form, and you've got Dan Neil in the middle as well. I mean, what a story he's been this season. So I just think there's a few more narratives. The goalkeeper as well, who's really coming into his own and being exceptional. I mean, speaking to Lee Johnson after the Gillingham game, and Hoffman was actually disappointed with his performance. He arguably wins the game for Sunderland with his save, and he's annoyed with his kicking, which just goes to show you his mindset coming in from Bayern Munich. So I just think in terms of McGeady, I think it's a good thing that maybe we won't miss him. And I think it's probably a good thing for McGeady as well, that there's not that pressure and over-reliance. And I think when I said this on the Raw podcast for the Sunderland Echo with Michael Bowers and Dave Lawrence, that when there's a big moment that comes for Sunderland this season, Aidan McGeady, hopefully he'll be fresh and he'll be ready to take it. And I think he's a big game player, and we will see something from him this season. And we have seen things from him this season anyway, but it's just not all on him anymore. And I think that's a really, really good thing, because I think with a bit less pressure, he might be able to thrive a bit.
Just very quickly on the chat, Tony Lee says commentary on Tuesday from Dudsey and Dino was brilliant. They were very good. Jacob, who's part of the SAFC Fan TV team, says, where's Tyler? What's happening, Jacob? James is leaving us at past, and Tyler's going to come on at past to discuss Charlton. Obviously, we didn't want to leave him on while we're all discussing Sunderland. He would be a little bit left out in the cold. Terry, Aidan McGeady, glad to have him back.
Oh, yeah, of course. But I thought on Tuesday he was a bit... he looked a bit lost. Out of all the players on the pitch on Tuesday, I thought he was probably the weakest link for me. I thought on the left-hand side,
really?
he didn't track back as much for Serkin, where like Sir O'Brien did a lot more tracking back. But I mean, he's just going to be out of form a little bit, and he won't be 100%. So, I'm going to give him that on Tuesday. I think McGeady will get better, will get fitter, and will be stronger. And we are a better team with him in the team, but we need him sort of firing all cylinders. And he can get away with that against Crewe. But when we play against the harder matches, we need to fit McGeady back to the way he was before he got injured.
See, it's amazing. You can watch the same game as someone else, have completely different opinion. Because I thought McGeady was quite good. He had some lovely touches and what have you. But maybe I've watched a different game.
I just thought he left Serkin stranded one or two times, and he was the sort of they were getting down the right-hand side a lot, and he didn't come back and help much.
Do you know what? I think both opinions are probably true in this regard, because I think he's come in to start from the cold, really, because he's had that injury. So I think there was times where he probably left Serkin, and I think that resulted in Serkin probably having his poorest game in a while. He was by no means a bad performance. He still did all right, but he didn't stand out as he did against Gillingham. But as Philly says, he did have some extremely good touches, and he always shows his quality on the ball. So to be honest, I think both of you are right. I think, you know, you just, in a game of 90 minutes, you tend to notice different things, you know, and sort of once you have that narrative in your mind, so Philly might have noticed a good touch, and he's thought, you know, Aidan McGeady's having a good game here, but then mad mistake, Terry, he's noticed him not tracking back, and you notice different things, don't you, depending on what you like and what you value.
Yeah, Mr. Doom and Gloom there, looking for the worst and everything.
At the end of the day, they all did well. They won 4-0. I'm just trying to say, you asked us about McGeady, and I'm just saying my opinion on McGeady. He didn't have a bad game. He was just probably the worst out of a good bunch on the night for me.
And I think with McGeady as well, historically, when he comes back in from an injury, it does take him a couple of games to get back up to speed. And he is, 35, 36 now? So, you know, give him that one, I think, as you said, Terry.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Just very quickly then, we normally do predictions on a night as well, and then the following time we forget to go through them, unless, of course, I've got the prediction right. Can anybody remember what I predicted for the Crew game?
3-1, wasn't it, Phil? You said 3-1.
Behave yourself.
You all say 3-1.
2-2 draw, you said, Phil.
Yeah. So a nice 4-0 there from me. And the reason I say is because Marianne and Carl Taylor out in Boston, Massachusetts, are on the live chat again. They've just donated $5 via the super chat. Come have a round of applause for Marianne and Carl, and hopefully Marianne's having a speedy recovery as well, because she's not been very well. They say, hi guys, predicted 4-0, and they're going for 3-1 on Saturday, and they said say hi to James as well. So there you go, James. That's Marianne and Carl Taylor out in Boston, Massachusetts. So Jack, Aidan McGeady?
Yeah, I thought he to me didn't look 100%. Now, as I say, he's coming back from injury. I noticed it at the start of the season with McGeady. I don't want to say he's over the hill, but he is kind of 35, isn't he? You know what I mean? He's not going to be.
Oh, he's ancient, isn't he?
Well, in football terms, though, Phil, yeah. it's getting towards, you know, the stage whereby you're needing to watch yourself and manage your games a little bit. And I think he certainly looked as if he was just coming back from an injury, and his fitness wasn't 100%. And it just made me think, I mean, the song goes, Aidan McGeady runs down the wing for me. But it made me think, can Aidan McGeady not so much be used? I mean, obviously, he's always going to be a wide player. He's played that his whole his career. But could he not be expected to bomb down the wing as much? Could he still be used as a kind of coming in field and putting a delivery into the box a little bit? And could we use, because the good points that we've touched on was he had some good touches. And I think you're going to get that quality. Aidan McGeady's touch on the ball and his delivery is sometimes far too good for this level. And I think maybe could he be used in a slightly different way this season, so he's not expected to be bombing and running as much, and we can manage him on the ball a little bit and get the best out of him? Maybe. I don't know. It just made us think, is there still room for Aidan McGeady in the team with a slightly different role expected of him?
That's fair enough. It's a fair shout, Jack. But the problem is, with doing that, if we give him a new role like that, then we have to come up with a new song, don't we? And it's Karen's favourite song, so she'll be goose.
For a bit of context, I've just had a look there. This is Aidan McGeady's 19th season as a first team player, 20th in professional football. So he's doing all right, isn't he?
Some games, isn't it? Top up them games, what we're looking at, 400, something like that. I mean, it's
590 club games, so that's excluding his Republic of Ireland appearances as well.
And he's still an outstanding player. So certainly in this league, you know, he's head and shoulders when he's on his game. Just very quickly on the chat, then AJJ says Charlton are bogey side. We've only won 1 in the last 5 meetings. DJ says Sunderland 1, Charlton 3. It's funny because I was having a look before I came on here, and I don't know if my stats are wrong, but I could only see we've only beaten Charlton once in the last 20 years. Now, I know we've not played them 20 consecutive seasons sort of thing, but that's what my stats say down here. I think we had a win in 2018 where we beat them, but before that was 2001 or something like that. So, maybe they are a bit of a bogey side, but we can have a chat to Tyler about that anyway. Just very quickly, 123 people on the stream, 40 likes. We like to try and hit 100 if we can on a Thursday night. Just hit the thumbs up if you would, please. It's free to do that. It'll take you a second. If you're watching on a mobile device and you have the live chat on, just close to the live chat and smash that thumbs up for us if you would, please. And also, if you're watching and you haven't subscribed to the channel, it's free to subscribe. Just hit the subscribe button and that will help us out immensely. Thank you. Right, what I might want to mention is about youngsters on the bench. James mentioned about a few injuries we've got and stuff like that. When I saw it initially after the Gillingham game, I think it was, I thought it was sort of reward for how well the youngsters have been doing. But is there a reason we're putting these youngsters on? Is it just that the players are not fit? Or is he putting them on ahead of regular first teamers? Jack, do you know anything about that? Or
I think that might be down to numbers. I think we're running a bit short, aren't we? You know that we've got depth in the squad, but we seem to have picked up quite a lot of injuries in a short space of time. So I think it's maybe that, and maybe just to give them a bit of experience. I mean, I had no problem with the quality of the lads that were coming off the bench. To be honest, I thought they come on and they seem to be getting involved, and you've had players scoring goals and getting involved. So I don't see a problem with it. But I think it's mainly down to numbers. I would think, Phil. I think are we maybe short in one or two areas? So that's there to give them a bit of experience. You know what I mean? Kill two birds with one stone type thing.
I think the Gillingham game, the bench was very weak in inverted commas with under 23s, and I think that was due to a numbers thing. But I think they probably could have risked players in that game, and I think they probably could have risked players against Crewe. But I think the club have moved away from that approach now. You look at what happened to Jordan Willis, and you know how desperate Sunderland have been over the years. But what I will say is a lot of these under 23s players are there on merit as well. They're knocking on the door. They're starting to be trusted by Lee Johnson for what they've done in the Papa John's Trophy. You look at Stephen Wern, who's got 2 goals in that. Harrison Son has looked impressive in the middle. So I think, whilst it's half out of necessity, I do genuinely think Lee Johnson's tried to build a trust with these under 23s players as well and show them a pathway. So I think it's, as I say, half out of necessity, but half out of a sort of intended implementation of under 23s players into the first team, which I think you probably expect to see a bit more of as well. But it's, as I say, it's not an ideal situation because obviously Broadhead's out, Corey Evans is out. So yeah, it's sort of half a dozen of one, if you know what I mean.
Do you have, James? Do you have information on the unfit players and when they're coming back and any information like that?
So Lee Johnson's press conference is tomorrow, so we're sort of waiting on that. But if I was at a guess, I would think that they might be careful with Pritchard. But given it was only a whiplash type injury, I think he could probably get through a game. I'd be maybe surprised if McGeady is risked from the start again, because it's obviously 2 games in quick succession. Lyndon Gooch was sort of getting there. I'm not sure how close he is. I think Nathan Broadhead will definitely miss out. Alves, we were never given a timescale on that, and obviously he hurt his glute or his backside, so I'm not really sure what's going on with that injury. Corey Evans, I would expect to miss out. Leon Diaku's a funny one because obviously he was told not to shoot with his right foot, so he goes and scores with his left. So that would imply that there's still a problem with that right leg. So I don't know whether he'd start him. Obviously, Embleton's out with a red card, so you could maybe see Aidan O'Brien in a 10. You could see Stephen Wern come in. I might be completely wrong. He might start McGeady. Might leave Diaku on the bench. Could start Leon Diaku. It's a funny one because games are coming so thick and fast, and we do have those injury problems that it's hard to predict. I do think that the 3 that will probably miss out altogether on the squad are probably Broadhead, Gooch and Evans, and of course Huggins is out till the new year as well. It wouldn't surprise me though if he might start Hume at left back, because he needs a few minutes, and Serkin's played a lot of football, so it wouldn't surprise me if Hume maybe comes in at left back, but you never know.
Somebody earlier said put in a shout for Hume to start. Am I right to assume that Embleton is a 3-match suspension? Is that what that is?
Three-match ban in the league, so Charlton will be his second game.
Right, okay. Terry, youngsters on the bench, thoughts on it?
I was under the impression that the cup match counts, and the QPR match actually counts as well.
No, it doesn't. We had this discussion on the Raw podcast earlier, and I actually didn't know, so I sloped off to do a bit of research. But the rule changed in 2018, actually, which I'd completely forgotten about. So it's now competition specific, which is a shame, because that third match would have been QPR, but now it's Rotherham. So I think we can probably expect him to play in the QPR match, but not the Rotherham. But you would prefer him to play in the Rotherham game if you could pick an ideal scenario.
All right, okay.
I always thought it was that way. I always thought it was. Is it not? Is it just changed? I always thought it was the competition that you played in. Or
it changed in 2018. Apparently, it's one of those blue areas. I mean, I probably should know, given me job, but it's just one of those things that slips your mind, isn't it?
Look, with the youngsters, I mean, for me, it is a bit of a necessity, because if the youngsters aren't on the bench, who do we have on the bench? Nobody. There's no one left. They're all injured. Simple as. We have got a big squad, but when you get 7 or 8 players injured, that soon depletes down. But the youngsters have deserved their place on the bench as well. The performances in the Papa John's Trophy, they're actually younger, for me, could fit into the defence straight away. I think he's good enough to do that if we unfortunately get one of the ones injured. Wern has shown his worth so far. He could fit into the number 10 role very, very comfortably. So 2 of the players there. We've got Ellis Taylor, for me, still a bit raw, still a bit young. Doesn't want to get too many games in League One, to get knocked around a little bit. I still will be more tentative with Ellis Taylor this season. For me, more next season, like Dan Neil. Well, last season I wanted him in, but probably too soon. Dan Neil this season, so Taylor could be the one for next season. But yeah, there's definitely 1 or 2 players who do deserve the place on the bench. But for me, it's a numbers game, and with all the injuries, I feel he's going to have to start McGeady on Saturday. I feel he's going to have to start O'Brien. I feel that Pritchard is going to have to recover from the whiplash. Where I read somewhere that he's probably going to be okay for Saturday, because otherwise you're going to have to start the youngsters, because there's nobody else. And if Diago is struggling with his right foot, why risk him? Why risk him? Keep him on the bench.
Pritchard whiplash. Do you think he's put a claim in, or what?
Yeah, I think he's a good lad to be all right.
Just very quickly then, we've got Tyler waiting backstage, so we'll whiz through this before we bring it on. In the chat, John Treborian makes a fair point. Says quality of the squad means we don't have to risk early comebacks for injuries and stuff like that. But I mean, it is wearing a bit thin now, and it's just as well that we have got strength in depth where we would have struggled in other seasons. Jacob, part of the team here, says a question for James. Was going to chuck it in anyway. Diaku, would you give him a start? Now you mentioned that maybe his right foot's not right, but would you give him a start, James, on Saturday?
It's his right foot, right leg. But for me, I think if he's fit enough to come on and score that goal, then take advice from the medical team. I probably would start him. And I wrote, so we do our predicted lineup on the Sunderland deck going up. I think he might go with Diaku in, and then Aidan O'Brien in the sort of like a 10, but a support striker role. But it's one of those things. Lee Johnson's a difficult man to second guess at times, and there'll probably be a few curveballs in there. But yeah, it's early days in terms of injuries as well, because as I say, we won't know everything until Lee Johnson's press conference tomorrow, and he might be coy with a few things. He might not want to give away a lot, and they'll be being constantly assessed, and these injuries can change on a daily basis. Diaku could be set to start, and then he might pick up something, and Aidan McGeady might regress again. We just don't know. But if I had to guess now, I would say Diaku probably comes in. Aidan O'Brien, I think, will definitely retain his place and sort of play up top with Stewart, but we don't know the full picture at the moment.
Right, fair enough. Right, well, what we'll do, James, we'll let you get off, and we'll bring Tyler Rowlinson, the Charlton fan, on.
Cheers, James.
Once again,
Cheers,
thanks,
James.
James,
Thanks
for
for having
coming
me.
on. If you just want
Nice
to say
one.
hi
Take
to
care.
everybody, and I'll tell everybody about the merch while we swap yous over. All right. Thanks very much, James. We'll catch you
See you
again.
later, lads. Take care.
Cheers,
Ta-ra.
ta-ra.
Yeah.
All right. Well, just very quickly, while we swap everybody over there and bring Tyler in, we'll quickly tell you about our merchandise, which make ideal Christmas presents for you. Great stocking fillers, these. We've got the SAFC Fan TV mug. We got my wife there modeling the big logo T-shirt and the key rings as well. They're all reasonably priced, and they are available on the SAFC Fan TV website. There is a link in the description below if you want to get any of those in time for Christmas. I'll quickly tell you as well also, if you're going to the Wheat Chief before the game, we're going to take some key rings and mugs down there where they will be sold a little bit cheaper because online they are sold with post and packaging, whereas if you're just picking them up at the Wheat Chief, then you'll get them a little bit cheaper. So so there we go. Right, guess who joined us? It's Tyler Rawlinson. Hi, Tyler, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Thanks for having me on.
That's no problem. Well, obviously we play your lot on Saturday. Big news for you lot today. Then you've sacked your manager. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, absolutely the right decision. I think this season, and this is putting it lightly, but has been an absolute disaster. I think it's, Adkins was just the wrong appointment for me, really. He had a great managerial bounce towards the end of last season. We only lost one game and we missed out on the playoffs by goal difference. But this season, it just hasn't worked. And to be honest, I think he's tactically I don't think he has it anymore, really. He was out of the game for a couple of years before he came to us, and that showed massively this season. I think he tactically just didn't have a clue anymore. We had no game plan really other than smashing the ball onto Stockley, and half the time he'd just win headers and no one would be there to support him. And that's left us in our lowest ever league position as a professional club. So, and that just says it all really. So yeah, it was absolutely the right decision, and I wish him all the best because he is a lovely bloke. If you see his Twitter videos, he's a lovely guy. But it just
you sound like Terry. So Terry says that you slag somebody off and then say, "Oh, he's probably a lovely bloke." Just very quickly on here, Towing the Tin says hi, Tyler. So down there, you got a fan, Tyler, on the live chat already. The only problem I see with it, Tyler, is you could have waited till Sunday before you sacked him because are we going to get this jinx of sacking the manager then going on to win? Jack, your thoughts on Charlton sacking their manager? Good for us or bad?
Well, it's funny, isn't it? I was hoping to hung on to him because it looked like the rot had set in and he'd completely lost things, hadn't he? But I don't know. I mean, Tyler will be able to speak about Charlton more than. You sometimes do get a bit of a new bounce with a caretaker. Sometimes with a new manager in charge. I often sometimes think as well, you might have had one or two in the Charlton team that didn't really like Atkins and maybe weren't playing for him. I know some fans say players go on the pitch and try all the time, but I sometimes doubt that with certain players don't like certain managers, and towards the end, if players know that the manager's on the way out, they might not be putting the full kind of effort and commitment into the cause. So bit disappointing, but I think Charlton should be more fearful of us than we are of them, Phil, to be honest. I mean, I look at the table, that they haven't done well this season. I think the league table is lying a little bit because I don't think Charlton are a bottom 3, bottom 4 team. But we've picked up a couple of away wins. We're confident we're going into it with the home crowd behind us. So yeah, I can understand why they've done it, because you look at the league table and you think Charlton should be maybe a playoffs team, maybe just outside the playoffs, top 8, top 10. You look at it, you see them in the bottom 4, and you think, well, they're in the playoffs last season, so something's gone badly wrong this season. So yeah, I can understand them doing it, but just like you say, I agree with you. Wish they'd wait till Monday morning, maybe.
Right, go on, Terry, if you want in.
Yeah, Tyler, has Nigel Adkins been backed by the owners?
He did, to be fair, in the summer, but that was another thing. The recruitment process was, again, a bit of a shambles, really. He was backed financially. We did sign some good players for fees. Stockley cost a fee. Charlie Kirk from Crewe was rumoured to be £500,000. So he was backed. But I think the recruitment process itself, the whole setup, because Adkins, our owner, and other members on the board were a part of it. But the recruitment process, we just waited too long to bring in players, and that ended up with us having a team that are at mixed levels of fitness, and that showed massively this season. So he was backed. Our owner does back us, but it's just a case of the recruitment process being a shambles and Adkins not working out, really.
Right, just very quickly then, Bobby Wevy says, good to see you smiling after last night's vlog, Tyler. So he's another fan of yours. And AJJ says, Johnny Jackson wants the job permanently. Would Tyler like to see that happen? Tyler?
I'm not surprised he wants it. Obviously, Jacko did take over from Lee Bowyer when he left. He was in charge for one game and he won. So he's got a 100% record going into this. But yeah, he's been obviously assistant manager for a couple of seasons now. So some will say it is his time. Personally, I'm not entirely sure whether he should get it. Sangard, our owner's come out today and said that he's in no rush to replace Adkins quickly. So Jackson will get time, which I think is probably for the best, just to give Jackson time to prove his worth, which I think he can do it. But we do also have to be thinking long term, because the next appointment, we've really got to get it bang on, because we got Adkins completely wrong. It was an absolute failure. So we need to get the next one right. Is it Jackson? Only time will tell. We'll have to wait and see how he gets on.
Well, just before I bring in Terry, DJ Earth on the chat says, Steve Bruce is available.
No, thanks. No, thank you.
Terry, you want in there?
Yeah, was Johnny Jackson as a player, was he a leader on the pitch? Because he's played over 250 games for you, scored 51 goals. So was he a leader in the midfield?
Absolutely. He was our captain, club captain for a long time. He was with the club for 8 years as a player, and he was outstanding. Gave 110% every time, played for the badge, proper leader. And yeah, it was really nice to see him stick around in the managerial positions. Like I say, captain.
But you don't fancy him as a manager, though, do you not?
Well, in the game he won, he did prove himself. He did change the system a little bit. He went to a 4-4-2, which worked really well, which I think he might try against Sunderland. Usually we played a 4-3-3 under Adkins, but I just think it's the inexperienced factor that is a bit for me, because like I said, we need to get the next appointment bang on. But if Jackson proves himself and Sangard gives him the job full time, then I'll back that decision.
Jack, you want in there?
Is there a bit of romanticism with that, though, Tyler? Because, Terry's touched on it. He played 58 years. I don't know, is he a bit of a fan favourite? And maybe the fans have had such a bad time recently that they're just clinging to something. Because it's happened with Sunderland on occasion. We've got rid of a manager, and Kevin Phillips has been near the top of the favourites. Now, I know a lot of Sunderland fans will probably disagree with me, and they'll say Kevin Phillips will be a great Sunderland manager. And I always think, is it just a bit kind of heart ruling your head with that type of thing? And I personally wouldn't have wanted Kevin Phillips as a manager, because I think if he doesn't do well, it might slightly tarnish. Some Sunderland fans will say it will never tarnish it. You know what I mean? And is a bit of romanticism with some Charlton fans wanting Johnny Jackson, maybe.
Yeah, I do make you right with that. I do make you right. Obviously, we have had former players become managers, and it has actually worked. So Chris Powell and Lee Bowyer were prime examples. They came in managerial roles, again, like Jackson, were inexperienced, and it turned out pretty good. But we won the league with Powell, and obviously with Bowyer we got promoted via the playoffs. So it could happen. Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry for bringing it up again. But with Jackson, obviously, like I say, he is inexperienced and he is very much unproven, like the former players. So there is a bit of romanticism there. We would like to see him do well, but if he does end up failing, it would tarnish the reputation. But I think with this game on Saturday, especially, I think it's sort of a get out of jail free card for Jackson, because he's only had like 2 days to prepare the squad. So if we get beat, it's sort of like, well, it is what it is. We'll move on because he's been given time. So we'll see what happens. But hopefully, if Jackson is given the job full time, he does well, because I would like that to happen.
Just very quickly then on the chat, Andrew Robbins says, I want revenge for the playoff defeat. 3-0 to Sunderland, this is the way. I met up with Tyler before the playoff. We was on each other's vlogs there, and completely different vlogs there. Where he was ecstasy on theirs, and a lot of tears on ours. And I know, Terry, you've met up with Tyler as well down there. So, but we'll just forget the playoff just for now. We're a different team. Also on the chat down here, Kev Flavin says, Tyler speaks very well. Good to have him on. So there you go, another fan for you. Tom61T says, come on, Tyler. Don't forget, of course, hit the thumbs up for us. We're trying to get 100, if we can, 156 people on the live stream. And if you are watching and you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Hit the subscribe button. It's free to do that, and it'll just take you a second. It will help us out immensely. Yes, Terry.
Tyler, what's your thoughts on George Dobson then?
Well, I know he didn't get on very well with you, so I've heard, especially when we bought him. A lot of Sunderland fans were like, well, yeah, glad he's gone. But this might sound strange, but I actually like him. I think he's done well in the games he's played. I know it's quite the shock in it, but I've liked him. To be fair, under Adkins, I felt that Adkins' treatment of Dobson was quite disgusting, to be honest, because he's not been in the squad for a long time. And he's played the likes of Ben Watson and Harry Arter, who, while are experienced, have been pretty poor this season. Arter's still getting up to scratch, and Watson is just Ben Watson, really. But yeah, Dobson, I think, obviously, he's still young at 23, and I really like him. I like his energy in the middle of the pitch. He gets stuck in. You know, a lot of times this season, I've seen him just grafting in the middle of the pitch and just getting rid of it. He does the dirty work that no one else wants to do. So might be a surprise to you guys, but I actually don't mind Dobson. I think he deserves more minutes, to be honest.
I think he's a nice bloke, and I like him character. I spoke to him. I spoke to him once down London, and he was a very nice person, really lovely lad, and I wished him all the best. But I just think in a big crowd situation like the Stadium of Light, I just didn't think we saw the best of him. I think he was suited to, like, I wouldn't say obviously Charlton's a smaller club, but a club with sort of less fans in the stadium.
Yeah.
So he's a rubbish player, but he's a really nice guy.
He's not a rubbish player, otherwise he wouldn't be in League One. He's not a rubbish player. He's just not at the level we want him at.
That's what I thought. When I was George Dobson, I thought he tries, you know what I mean? But ultimately, for where we want to be going, in my opinion,
it's not good enough.
George Dobson. But I did think our fans got on his back a little bit as well, Terry. I thought our fans were very, very quick to it's Dobson's fault. Do you know what I mean? Anytime he did something wrong, and it was like, come on, lads. You know what I mean? It wasn't that on that occasion. He's not the best player, but he seemed to get a lot of flack. And I think we are like that as Sunderland fans. We get one player that we don't like, and it's just blame him, just blame Dobson. So I do think
Max Powell wasn't that good with George Dobson as well at the same time, so.
Yeah.
Right. Just very quickly then, because there's a few things on the chat for Tyler down here. Bobby Webby says Dobson was doing okay, but hasn't been making the squad recently under Adkins. No idea why. There's a question for you here, Tyler. Dawn King says, can you ask Tyler if he remembers me?
I don't know if we've ever met, but it must have gone from my memory. I apologise.
All right. Sorry, Dawn. Right. Also, Nigel S says Tyler should be doing his uni work. I don't know if you know him, and if that's some sort of in joke or whatever. And also, Danny, it says James Meekings says, Tyler, do you think the coaches are to blame as well as Adkins? Tyler?
Yeah, that has been debated as well amongst the fan base, because you could say that, 50% of the coaching staff is gone, obviously, with Adkins going. A lot of people were saying that Jackson and our first team coach, Jason Yule, who's going to be second to Jackson as well, they said that they're part of the problem as well, because they're playing a massive part, obviously, of what goes on in training and the coaching. So there is that argument, and that is one of the main reasons why some Charlton fans would not want Jackson to take the job on full time. I can't say I disagree with that. I think obviously something has to be going wrong. Something has obviously gone wrong down the training ground because of how bad we've been this season. So yeah, it's definitely one up for debate, that's for sure.
Right. Well, there's a question which will help me out actually on here as well. But before we do, Marcus says, tell Tyler to do his uni work. That's from Marcus. So you need to get your uni work done. Tony Lee says, Tyler, who are Charlton's natural derby opponents? Is it Palace? Or who's your main rivals, the people you don't like the most?
Yeah, it's Millwall. Hi.
It's both Palace and Millwall, but I think our fan base, I think the majority of them would probably say Palace would probably be the most hated. But me personally, I'd probably say I hate Millwall more, to be honest.
Right. Okay. It's just that when I do my show at the Wheat Sheaf, we normally put a screen up of the people like you here just to welcome you. So I can do a Palace screen now saying Palace are W's or something like that or whatever. Somebody else there. AJJ says, is Tyler travelling to the match? Are you coming up to the match, Tyler?
I wish I was, but I'm on a stag do that day, so which is probably just as well. It's probably just as well for drinking to numb the pain of us getting smashed. So yeah,
probably Dawn King. He's probably marrying Dawn King, I would imagine. by that looks of thing.
Phil,
Jack, you want in there?
I was just going to ask Tyler about, when Aidan McGeady went on loan to you, what went on there? So it didn't seem to feature much, and we were surprised at that because, you've had a bit of a fallout with Parkinson, didn't he, at Sunderland? Went to Charlton, but didn't seem to fit in. Just wondered what your thoughts on that one was.
Yeah, it was a strange one because it come out of nowhere. But when we signed him, Bowyer described him as our bonus player, a player that we didn't really need, but we felt that we'll just get him in. McGeady, he was. Well, I'd probably say average at best, really. Obviously, it was the Championship as opposed to League One. He didn't get a lot of games before, obviously, because that season was cut short because of COVID. And then we came back, obviously, when we just come out of lockdown. And he played a lot during that period behind closed doors. And he actually played quite well during that period. He was getting shots away, showed glimpses of his technical quality that we know he is capable of, especially this season and when he went back to use. But he wasn't like massively outstanding, certainly not the player that he was a couple of years ago, but he was okay. He was all right.
Right. On the chat as well, Conrad Lee, who's part of the SAFC Fan TV team, says, Tyler, didn't Charlton relegate Palace back in 2005-ish?
Yes, we did. Very, very proud day, that one. I wasn't watching it that day, but yeah, that was a good day. Jonathan Fortune must have been very late on to draw 2-2 to send them down. I remember the chants we were singing. I think it was to the lyrics of "Is this the way to Amarillo?" And at the end, we'd say, "We sent the Palace down," which that was a good day. That one.
It's always good when you can do that to your neighbours.
Yeah.
We're not speaking about our neighbours at the moment, though. Right, 22nd place, Tyler. Is your season over?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was over long ago. I think, to be honest, even if we do start playing well towards the end, I think the best we'll get this season is mid-table. Go again, reset for next season. It usually takes us 3 years to get out of League One anyway, and next year will be our third year. So next year's the year.
Well, I'm sure Jack might have a stat for you here about us when Roy Keane took over.
Yeah, we were 19th, I think, in November, and still ended up winning the league. So you never know. Perhaps, maybe, you never know. I want to ask Tyler, what was your kind of ambitions at the start of the season, or what did you think realistically? Because as Sunderland fans, we all three of us will say, perhaps a little bit arrogantly, but we always think when we're in League One, our ambition is by hook or by crook to get promoted at the end of the year. I just thought, where did you realistically think Charlton would be at this season? And obviously you're behind where you were, but where did you set your kind of target at?
Well, in my prediction video at the start of the season, I said 5th within the playoffs, so we're a far cry from there now. But I think a lot of Charlton fans said, obviously, the first proper season where our owner could back us, we should really be top 6. And to be fair, our owner did us absolutely no favours by coming out in our local paper and saying we're going to blow it out the division this year. And now look at us, looking like an absolute taking us for idiots, really.
It's funny you should say that, because didn't the Bolton manager 3 games, I think, said that they were the best team in the league. I think they've lost 3 games in a row now, haven't they? So you got to be careful what you say.
You do, yeah.
Terry, do you think it's over for Charlton? Or do you think, it's still early days, could make the playoffs? What do you think?
Oh, it's still early days, long way to go yet. It all depends who the manager is. I mean, end of the day, you got a good catchment area down London. Get any sort of decent manager comes in, back the manager, he can turn the team around straight away. Like Jack said, it could be 1 or 2 players who just didn't like Adkins and suddenly start finding the form all of a sudden next 2 or 3 games. Hopefully not on Saturday. But yeah, it's early days yet. But I like his attitude. Gear season's over, so the only way is up, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I could definitely say that.
Hacker says isn't Kerbishley involved with Charlton, and then obviously Bobby Webby says apparently he does. He's a pundit on the Charlton TV or whatever. So I mean, Kerbishley he did a brilliant job, and then just is he long gone now? Is he too long in the tooth with the game as it is now? Do you think?
Yeah, massively. A lot of Charlton fans were saying that, oh yeah, bring Curbs back, and it's just like he's been out of the game for far too long. I think, to be honest, I think he should be involved in the club in another aspect as rather than a pundit, like actually on the board. But too long out of the game to be a manager now.
Right. Okay, then. Well, what we'll ask you is we're going to ask you about what your strengths are in the team, because what we like to do, we get the information and we pass it on to Lee Johnson, who then sets his team up. The problem is when we had Tom on from 4-0 written all over it before we played Portsmouth, he gave us all this information. We passed it on to Lee Johnson. He set the team up and they went and beat us 4-0. So we're going to have to trust you on this.
What's a swimming pool, though?
Was that what?
It was a swimming pool, though. They were trying to play football in. Let's not forget.
Tyler, your strengths, who's your danger man we have to look out for?
Well, as you can tell by the league table, we're playing some very good attacking football at the moment. Well, in terms of danger men, I'm sure you should all know Craig McGillivray from his Portsmouth days. He's our goalkeeper. Probably the best of a bad bunch. If it wasn't for him, we'd probably be rock bottom of the league right now. Our centre-back, Sam Lavelle, came in from Morecambe in the summer. Very good defender, proven to be a very good signing with our other centre-half, Ryan Ennis, being injured. He's proved to be massive for us. We've got some pretty pacey wingers, Corey Blackett-Taylor, Jonathan Lecco, Charlie Kirk, as I mentioned, Dearlang Jaisimi as well. It all depends on who Adkins decides to... Adkins, he's gone now. Jackson, who he decides to play out of those four. And then obviously you've got Stockley as well, danger man up front. If we can get him in the right area, he's going to score 9 out of 10, 9 times out of 10. So we've got some good players in there. Well, on paper, you'd think we've got one of the best teams in this league. But yeah, we just need to get them playing to their strengths, and hopefully we should come up the table a little bit.
Terry?
What happened with the Fleetwood match, and how did you win that game? Did you play well, or was it just a one-off, or what?
Well, I wasn't there, but I have heard good things. Like we just changed the tactic, because we stuck with the same formation under Adkins of 4-3-3, but we rarely punted the ball long. We were playing it across the floor and said that we were playing some really, really good football. We took the lead at half-time, Jonathan Lecco with a goal, and then they scored a free kick through Danny Andrew and then through Stockley. But I think it's just when we don't play the long ball, I know we can play. We can play football. If we play across the floor, we do have some good passing within that squad. It's just a matter of just finding our feet, really. We just need to stop playing it long to Stockley. And if we are going to do it, we need to make sure we execute it well. So I think with the Fleetwood game, we just played it across the floor and it worked a treat.
Right. Lost my train of thought now, haven't I? Somebody sing us a song, Terry.
Well,
I was just going to ask him about what Tyler thought of Sunderland this season. What is he saying? Any of us? Do you think we're going up? What's your opinion? What's your opinion of where we are? How do you think we're doing?
It should really be your year this year. I think it should be your time to go up. I think I had my doubts this season going into it, because I thought, have they really strengthened their squad this season? But then you've really proven me wrong in that aspect. Ross Stewart's been firing on all cylinders. Embleton, I was actually quite surprised you kept Embleton with Blackpool going up. I thought Blackpool would be all over him, but yeah, we've done well to keep him. Who else? Dan Neil. I've been impressed by him. Luke O'Nien, obviously, as well. I think really this should be your year to go up, and if you don't go up, I think I'd be quite surprised, to be honest.
Right, this is what I was going to do. Tyler, we're going to you've given us a bit of info on your team. So Terry always gives us our lineup, and Terry's state-of-the-art whiteboard will now come into play. We'll show you the setup. What Terry's 9 times out of 10. Terry's spot on with his prediction of the Sunderland lineup. So he's going to show you exactly what we're going to do, and then you can pass it on to your caretaker manager, and you can let him know.
Cool.
Terry.
I just feel, gut instinct says it's going to be exactly the same team as Tuesday night, exactly the same team. I think Pritchard will get over his whiplash. I think the likes of, sort of struggling, McGeady, I don't think there's anybody else. I don't think he'll risk anybody else for this game. I really don't. I think that Diago, for me, if he's struggling with his leg, he'll do the same again. Bring him on maybe his last 20 minutes if the game's done and dusted. I think some of the other players, the younger players, might be played in the Carabao Cup more than the league. I think the league's priority, and we have to get the league right this season. We can afford to lose the Carabao Cup, not that we don't want to, but I think that some of the youngsters like Wern could possibly start on Tuesday night. But for me, I think it'll be, barring any injuries where they cannot play, it's going to be exactly the same team, exactly the same formation. And I think we'll be on it again Saturday.
Right, just very quickly, you mentioned, Tyler, you mentioned Ross Stewart there. Just to let you know on the chat, Andrew Robbins is telling you that Rod Stewart. But Ross Stewart, we call the Loch Ness Drogba, is what he's thinking. Right. So there you go. Also on here, Jeff Brown says, excellent show tonight, lads. Enjoyed it all the way from South Lincolnshire. Thanks for tuning in, Jeff. Charlie at One Rovers Vlogs is on as well, says evening to everybody. I don't know if you know Charlie Tyler at One Rovers.
Yeah,
Vlog.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, sound a good YouTuber if you want to check out Charlie's channel there, One Rovers Vlogs. Go and give him a look and subscribe to him as well. Crack of Dawn says, what's Tyler's honest thoughts on Millwall? Tyler?
As they always say, no one likes Millwall. No one likes Millwall.
Yeah, but everyone hates them, apparently.
I don't even think they like themselves, do they, Millwall? I don't think Millwall fans like themselves, really.
So I take it, Tyler, you're not a massive Aidan O'Brien fan, then, are you?
I can appreciate he's a good player for this level, but I think that Millwall connection, yeah, something there.
Right, I'll tell you what we'll do then, because we're fast running out of time here. So I've got another question for Tyler, and then we'll take some predictions. Just before we do, 162 people on the live stream at the moment. We've got 84 likes. 60 more people can smash that thumbs up, and that'll get us to the 100 we like to get on a Thursday. Don't forget, if you are watching on a mobile device, just close the live chat. If you've got that open, you'll see the thumbs up. Just smash that. Let's say it's 100 on that. And don't forget to please subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so yet, it is free to subscribe. Tyler, any idea who you would like as your new manager then?
Just someone who knows the club well, someone who understands this club, and someone who can take us forward long term. Like I said, is it Jackson? Is it going to be our second in command, Jason Newell, or are we going to go with someone fresh? I've seen, taking a look at the Sky Bet odds to see who are the potential new managers. I've seen Michael Flynn be mentioned, the former Newport boss. Ryan Lowe from Plymouth. I don't think he'll touch us, seeing as they're top of the league at the moment. Chris Wilder, I think he might go Cardiff. Again, that's also ambitious. Chris Powell's been mentioned. Chris Beach, the former Carlisle manager, again, is like a random one thrown in the hat. Neil Harris, former Millwall boss. I don't think Charlton fans would like that one. But yeah, I guess we'll see. At the moment, I'd probably say Jackson is more likely due to him obviously being the caretaker boss, but we'll see.
Somebody said, would you have Parkinson back?
No chance. No chance.
That makes two of us.
Yeah. He managed us back in like 2010. Yeah, was not good.
Right, okay. Right, what about predictions for the game then? Jack, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, I think Charlton will improve. I think you'll see Charlton, really come out and give it a good go on Saturday. Like I say, I think there was maybe one or two that weren't trying or weren't happy with the managers. So I think they will improve. But I think ultimately, I think Sunderland will win. But I think it'll be a tight game. I'm going to go 2-1 to Sunderland, please, Phil.
Right, no problem. Terry?
Yeah, I think I'm not into all this new manager comes in as one day and then turns it around.
It happens all the time.
At the end of the day, they're in the third of bottom for a reason. If we don't beat these, then at the end of the day, it's going to be if it's going to be our season, we've got to beat teams in the bottom three. Simple as. I don't care who it is in the bottom three. They're there for a reason. It is. They're there for a reason. They've only won 2 games. They've lost 8. If we cannot be beating teams like Charlton on Saturday at home, then we're going to be struggling. So for me, I think we'll win 3-1. Right.
Well, sorry, I've got to say, mind, the new manager thing is a massive factor. It happens so
Not after one day. Not after one day.
It's like they wipe the slate clean and the players try harder, and it
just proves how poor some of the players are, and how pathetic they are for me. It's pathetic. If it takes a new manager to come in, they get paid all that money and they piss about. Get the fans. The fans watch the team get beat all season. Right, mate, they're not good players, are they? They're piss poor players, simple as.
Terry, it happens. Tyler, what about a prediction from you then?
Well, it's probably worth mentioning that in the one game Jackson did win, he also had the same amount of time as he has for this one to prepare the squad, and he won it. So, but yeah, I think, I'm hopeful that we will improve. It's going to be interesting to see what he does. Not sure what formation he's going to play, who he's going to play. Is he going to keep it the same? I think we will improve, but I don't think it'll be enough. I'll go 2-1 to Sunderland as well.
Right, okay. Well, I've got 2-1 as well. So 3 of us are going 2-1. Terry's going 3-1. Loads of people on the chat saying Charlie at One Rovers Vlog says 3-1 Sunderland. Emma will be speaking to you at the pre-match, I reckon. 1-1 she's going. Christopher Lee 1-0. Hacker 3-0, 2-1, 3. I mean, Las Palmas back on 4-0. Dear me. I want to put the wine back in the bottle, mate. Right, so look, that just about wraps it up. Listen, Tyler Rowlinson, Charlton fan, he's a fantastic vlogger on YouTube there. You've got to go and check out Tyler's channel. Go and do it now. Go and have a look. Hit the subscribe button. It'll take you a second to do that. Cost you absolutely nothing. Support him. He's a great guy. He's come on our channel and he's coming to help us out. So make sure you go and support Tyler. And then what you can do is after, if we get a win on Saturday, you can go back and in his comments and stuff like that and do all that. Tyler, thank you very much for coming on. You're an absolute star. We will hope to have you on. We haven't played you down there yet, have we? We'll have you back on for the return leg when hopefully you'll be back up. Terry, I want to say something there.
Yeah, I want to wish Tyler and Charlton all the best for the rest of the season, but only on Sunday onwards.
I appreciate that. Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
I hope they do really well, but just don't place in the playoffs. That's my.
We're going up automatically, man.
Right. There you go. Tyler, do you want to say bye to everybody?
Bye, everyone. Cheers for having me on. Subscribe to SAFC Fan TV.
Oh, what a star. Terry, just say bye to everyone, will you?
Just say bye, everybody, will you?
Good man. Jackson, bye.
See you later, lads and lasses.
All right. And from myself, Wee Philly, don't forget to like and subscribe if you can, please. And we'll be back on Sunday with the Sunday Bunch. We'll see you then. Thanks. Bye-bye.